What's happening, folks? I'm back with another reaction, and I'm very excited. We're going to begin reacting to something new, or it's not new in terms of just having come out, but I have not yet reacted to any Recoil. That is to say, I got a 2 CD sort of selected special edition of Recoil's catalog, where I think it's sort of, again, the selected catalog, selected by Wilder himself. This release came out in 2010. Now, the Recoil project, from what I understand, goes back to the days when he was still in Depeche Mode. It originally started as a sort of side project, a sort of side outlet for his creativity. But then once he left Depeche Mode, I think in '95, I think it was between So Fat and Ultra, if I'm correct in that assumption, do let me know. But yeah, once he left Depeche Mode, it became sort of his main musical output. I've never heard any of the tunes. I didn't even really know it existed until I started doing reaction videos to Depeche Mode, and a number of people brought it up, and I think someone even said that no one has been reacting to his tunes online, which seems weird to me. Like, I feel like Depeche Mode, even if people only knew him through his Depeche Mode work, I feel like upon discovering that Recoil was a thing, you would think that more reactors would be interested in it. So, again, I don't know if that's still the case, or, you know, if there are some people online who've looked at his material in this project, but either way, I am very excited. I love Depeche Mode. I love the sound of the period while he was in the group, and you know, Andy Fletcher, R.I.P. I remember seeing an interview with him where, you know, he talked about the roles, and he was basically saying, like, I do fuck all, but you know, I think many people would say that he was instrumental to keeping the band together, and, you know, full respect to the roles he played, which I remember reading at one point that someone was saying that Andy was sort of the liaison between, you know, the music executives and that whole kind of legal world and lawyers and so on, and this creative side of the band. So, yeah, big ups to Andy Fletcher. But I do remember that he was saying Alan Wilder was, you know, during the phase when he was in the band, he was the real musician. He was the one who was really good with the synthesizers and engineering the sound that they were trying to create. So with that in mind, I'm very excited to start this Recoil reaction series. There are 2 CDs. One is called Selected, which is the tunes that Wilder chose to include on this compilation, and which were remastered in 2010 when this was released. And then there's a CD2, which is remixed versions of the different tracks. So we'll get to the remix ones eventually, but I do want to go through the main part of the album first. So we're going to listen to, or a compilation, I should say. We're going to listen to the first one. It's called Strange Hours. I'm going to use Depeche Mode. I'm going to use Discogs, if I can speak correctly, as a guide for this one. So it says here that on this track, Strange Hours, Steve Monty is on drums. Merlin Reese-Jones is on guitar. There's additional production and engineering by Paul Kendall. There is a talking voice, which I'm curious about, because it makes a point to say that it's not like a sung vocal, that it's a talking vocal contribution by it's Hetzibah Sessa. And then finally, the vocals themselves were written by Diamanda Gallus, who apparently is a Greek-American performing artist. So there's a lot of influences here and a lot of different contributors to the track. So I'm very interested. So without further ado, this is Alan Wilder's Recoil project with the tune Strange Hours, heard here with the 2010 remaster. Someone lighting a cigarette? Or some flammable substance. Okay. Kind of almost like industrial style lo-fi hip-hop. I like this a lot. This is not what I expected. Kind of like hints of like mushroom jazz. She's definitely singing. It's not a spoken vocal. Might be the last dead man to make it. Hell yeah, I know it. I'll get there. Oof. There I will be wearing clothes of fire, but I'm sure you'll see me there. I'm gonna crawl. I like her voice. It's got like grit, like guttural, like force. cinematic record, like a montage in a film. There's some crazy vocalizations.
But you know I'll be there. I'll find you there. I'll find you there.
There's a moment where I almost felt like it's sort of like a bit of a Eurythmics flavor there.
You can be sure.
Now kind of like a 1950s movie playing in the background almost for a moment there. That like echoic buzzing layer for a second. It's like sweeping string style pads. This is good.
Before being seen, shout out the window.
Is like reflecting like bright sunshine at you. Oof. It's like consonant and dissonant at the same time. It's like psychological horror. You're like up in your head and it's unsettling. Oof. The power.
We kept strange hours.
He kept strange hours?
Locked himself away in his room.
We kept strange hours.
Before being seen, shout out the window.
So this is the spoken vocal. Basically, it seems like the Discog's crediting, even though there are several credits, is missing at least a couple contributors here. The way that female, like the melody of her singing was perfect, but the way it was placed inside everything else, all the other sonics, perfection. Yeah, not what I expected. I don't know why, but I expected it maybe to sound more like, late 80s, early 90s Depeche Mode, which admittedly, Depeche Mode in 85, I suppose, did sound very different from Depeche Mode in 93, although I do think there are elements of continuity that sort of define Depeche Mode's work throughout their entire catalog. But yeah, for some reason I thought it was going to have more of like a kind of mid-late 80s synth pop sound, but that, like I said, it was like sort of like lo-fi hip-hop, but with industrial flavoring, sort of metallic, kind of like a heavy vibe, but with the singing of a couple different people, including a male and a female, it sounded like. It had sort of like a mushroom jazz or acid jazz kind of feel. Yeah, that was really cool, and as I said, it now makes me wonder, what the rest of the album's going to sound like. Maybe that track was anomalous. Maybe some of the other tunes are going to be more close to what I might consider like a more traditional kind of synth pop sound, like Depeche Mode from the 80s and so on. But maybe not. Maybe that was a good example of the way in which the Recoil project will diverge quite heavily from Depeche Mode. And to be clear, I in no way expected it to have like an identical sound. Even the Depeche Mode tracks, while Alan was sort of the main driver of the synthesizers and drum machines and so on. But yeah, it was just a bit different than I was expecting in a very good way. So yeah, shout out to the Alan Wilder fans out there. Shout out to Nina. And I think the person whose profile includes the 101, I think there's been a few people who've been commenting on Recoil and saying it might be a good idea to react to. So big ups to all of you. It's time to make it happen. Let me know what you think of this one. Let me know if there's another one on the compilation here that you're looking forward to. I think I'm just going to do it in order, unless someone says, that there's no necessary reason to do that, and, there's a really good track that I should get to soon. But if that doesn't happen, the next track that I will react to is Faith Healer, followed by Jezebel, which, isn't there a Depeche Mode song called Jezebel? Am I making that up? In the moment, I wonder if I'm remembering that right. But yeah, the next one we will get to is Faith Healer. I hope you're here for it. Let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.